Welcome to Typecasting, where we're typing our favorite fictional characters on the Enneagram and taking on pop culture by the numbers.
I binged 11 episodes of Glee for this episode today, and I just have to say, I think Glee might be good, and that's how Sue sees it.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's your host, Lucas Graydon. And honestly, I think Fondue for Two really inspired this podcast.
Stop! And that's your co-host, Mirjana Tumatua, who I'd love to see as Brittany's next guest on Fondue for Two.
Did you have that pre-planned?
Yes, already written out.
Oh my gosh.
Great minds.
That is way weird. Okay, well, and then this is your super special co-host they're here for their last time today. We're heartbroken for now. You might come back. Yeah. We'll see. Well, that's Ian Albert. And I was thinking, you know what? On the Born This Way episode, I don't know if they could have an imperfection to put on your shirt, Ian.
I'm blushing. Wow.
That's so nice.
And we are also joined by our very special guest co-host, Lena Knatzer. And you think this is hard? Try picking one compliment to introduce special guest host Lena Knatzer. That's hard.
Oh my gosh, we're all being so sweet today.
This week. Dang.
I have had my Sue intros for weeks, but I was waiting for the episode where we talked about her.
Where it made sense.
Thank you.
I love it. Oh my goodness.
I'm so sad that this is our last episode doing this, but I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Oh my gosh, we're so happy that you guys have been here for this journey. Thank you so, so much. I'm so excited to talk about the Cheerios. Oh wait, Lucas, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about the Cheerios. It's our last episode on Glee, the fever dream of a TV show that it is. And I'm super excited. I think these are some of the biggest personalities that we have on the show. And so we're kind of rounding it out with a group of Cheerios, the iconic tracksuit and cheerleader costumes, all 6 seasons through. Well, maybe not all 6 seasons because they do graduate eventually. But the one person does stay in her signature tracksuit the whole time. And that is our first character, the one, the only Sue Sylvester. So,
Lucas, why don't you tell us about Sue, since you obviously love her so much? I want to hear your take on who she is as a person.
Okay, Sue Sylvester. How does one describe Sue Sylvester? She is a force to be reckoned with. What she wants, she gets. She is cheerleader coach extraordinaire. She leads the McKinley High cheerleading team to a national championship multiple times. But we also see that the one year that she loses, it really, really weighs on her. So I think we see a really strong thirst for competition and for success in Sue. But she also is a relentless bully, and we love her for it because she's the villain of the show. But she's not always a very nice person. However, I think that we see some shades of vulnerability to her in her relationship with her sister, Jean, and also, which I want to talk about a little bit more as we get into the types, her relationships with Kurt, aka Lady, aka Porcelain. I really like how she kind of takes him under her wing at times, and I'm really excited to talk about it. I know some of you, Lena and Ian, you said you were nervous for today's episode. So where are you all starting out? Where do you think she might fall on the Enneagram?
Okay, Sue is the one that I'm the most confident with.
Okay.
And hear me out. Maybe I'm way off base. You guys, I know almost nothing about the Enneagram, but I just feel
we
like...
We mentioned that on our last call. Hey guys, just so you know, I've been really fighting these guys on every character I've talked about, all 6 of them, but now is what I'm going to tell you. I'm educated on the matter.
I believe that you should tell everyone to take your opinion with a grain of salt after you've spent various hours giving that opinion. I believe in fixing the damage once it's already done instead of avoiding any damage. I think Sue is an 8.
Okay.
Okay.
I agree. I think Sue is an 8. She is the one that I'm pretty sure about as well. I like go back and forth with these 3 on like with Santana and Brittany on a couple of them, but Sue, I'm pretty sure is an 8.
Okay, Mirjana, too, what do you think?
I thought Sue was a 3.
Oh.
Okay, I will say, I also think she's an 8. I did have 3 written down, but Mirjana, I want you to go first.
Okay, so I don't know how I'm even going to explain this because I thought everyone was going to think she was an 8. And I was really trying to find that, like, in who she was as an actual. It's hard because now I'm like, maybe she is an 8. I don't know. But I was just like, obviously, she has a really competitive spirit. I think she doesn't necessarily. I think she's a trickster. And the fact that she's a 3 and like she can win others over, but not in like a complimentary way, but like in a competitive spirit, right? So like I think when we think of like a 3 and like woo or like winning others over, we think, oh, they're charmers, but I feel like she scares people to being on her side, which is still winning people over, right?
Yeah.
Like, and she's very talented at what she does. She's an incredible coach. She is an okay mentor, maybe, if she wants to turn that on. Oh, nervous laughter.
I think with Becky, she is a mentor.
Yes. Yeah,
I don't think
and
it's to Becky's benefit all the time, but I do think she's.
I think she's doing what she thinks is right, and I think she knows how to get to the top. And who knows how to do that better than our 3s? I guess I just didn't see I didn't see 8 because I couldn't find the like 8's motive or the gut react. I mean, like, I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say because I think I could be convinced, and maybe I was just trying to make a splash. And I think I have 3 for another character that I feel much more confidently about.
Oh,
I do. That's why I was like, I don't know how to say this without giving a spoiler.
interesting. I don't have. Okay.
Okay,
I think
okay,
we're
so why
in
don't
the
you guys tell
same
me about
boat.
your 8? Okay, perfect. I knew you'd be on my side.
We're always on the same page, I swear.
I literally always call Lucas after. I'm like, me and Lena, man, we just have a thing. Like,
let's be best friends forever. Oh my God. But I do disagree with you. I do think she's an 8 on this only one page,
was a
though.
Really sharp turn for me.
I think we agree on everything ever, except right now you are dead wrong and don't agree at all.
No,
I disagree with you.
Hear me out. No, I think me and Mirjana too had the exact same thought process about 2 of these characters, and we're flip-flopping them. And I think we landed on the opposite ones.
Okay.
I think that's what happened. So I do think we're on the same page, but I think we might be on like you're on one corner of the page, I'm on the other corner, holding it down. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Totally.
Sorry, I'm so
teamwork.
sorry.
My thoughts on the 3 deal, the reason I think she's an 8 and not a 3 is because I understand and I agree with everything you said about her, like, really knowing how to win people over and, like, really being exceptional in her field. I think 3s care too much about what other people think than Sue. I don't know if that made grammatical sense, but Sue's confidence doesn't ever seem like she's putting it on to protect herself. It seems like she just is that confident. Like she just like truly thinks that she is incredible and amazing and doesn't seem to really care what other people's opinions of her are. And from my understanding, 3s care more than that. Did that make any sense?
No,
I think that's like kind of fair. Yeah. I mean, yeah, go ahead, please.
I do agree with you because I think that 3s a lot of times struggle to be authentic because they're always matching and mirroring the people around them. to win them over. And then they get alone and they're like, okay, but who am I if I don't have somebody to like tell me who I am? I think we even talked about that a little bit last week with Quinn. And I don't think Sue has that. Like, I don't think Sue gives a rat's about what the people in her life think about her. She just cares kind of about doing things her way, getting things done. And the thing for me that really sold me on Sue as the type 8 is actually, I think it makes sense when you look at her childhood, and she talks a lot about, not a lot, that was an exaggeration, but she does talk in some of the episodes I watched about how when she grew up, she saw her sister being bullied relentlessly for being different. And I think that she, in her developmental stages, learned that she had to be the strong one to protect her sister and to protect herself. And so she's put up that wall that I think a lot of type 8s put up, where they can be intimidating and domineering, and they want to assert their dominance so that they can't be stepped upon and they can't be vulnerable. But to actually get to the original point, because I was talking about something else there, the thing that I love about the type 8 is that under a rougher exterior, I think they have a really sweet heart and a thirst for justice and for taking care of the little person. Yeah. And I think, like I said, we see that with Jean, but also watching in season 2, when Kurt is being harassed and bullied by Karofsky, the way that she, as principal, tells Kurt, like, as soon as he lays a hand on you, you come to me and I will not let him step foot in this school again.
William, I was bullied my entire life. I grew up with a handy-capable sister. I know very well how cruel people can be. Was it difficult? Yes. Did it make me stronger? You bet it did.
It's the fear that's the worst. I never know when it's coming. I can't concentrate. I don't feel like I'm part of the school at all. I feel like I'm in a horror movie where this creature follows me around terrifying me, and there's nothing that I can do about it. I mean, you don't know what's going on in this kid's head. You don't know what he's capable of.
What does that mean?
Nothing. Maybe I'm overreacting.
Lady, this kid lays a finger on you, you come straight to me, and I will expel him faster than a Thai takeout place can read back your delivery order. Okay? But until that happens, and I'm genuinely sorry to say this, there's nothing legally I or the school board can do.
And she really does provide as safe of a place as she can for Kurt. And then she resigns in protest when Karofsky is allowed to stay at the school, because she knows it's not right and she knows it's not just, and she will plant her flag and like make a stand whenever she can to stand up for the little person.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And I think one of the things that like
side of the
gave definitely, and one of the things that gave you pause, like I think for a second you might, like you just said, like, well, 8s aren't super vulnerable, and I was like, I feel like 8s are very always vulnerable, and it's different ways than we might like. I think like they show their defensiveness is them being vulnerable. Like, this is what I'm possessive about. This is what I care about, and I'm sharing it with you. I think I'm being convinced, and like I think she looks like an 8, right? I was more saying 3, like, because I'm like, I think she might be like hiding it all, because I think her fear is truly failure, not to appear weak or vulnerable. I think she just is strong. I think that's who she is as a person. And I think her fear, which is like manifested all these things, is failure, not necessarily. And that's a 3. Like in an 8, they don't want to come off as weak. And I don't think she would mind coming off as weak as long as she got what is done, which is kind of confusing. But I think a lot of the 8s I know in my life who are like true 8s would also do the same. So I think I can go with the 8. I think it makes sense. I just also saw so much of that, like the wanting to win. But I think you're right, where I think if she had to choose between doing what was right or winning, she would always choose on doing what's right.
Well, and we see that in the season 1 finale when she's a judge and she votes for the New Directions and then she lets them stay. And I think we do see, like, she could have let the New Directions lose regionals or they did lose, but she could have let the New Directions be kicked off. She could have won, but I think she actually enjoys the fight and the challenge, and the 8 is the challenger more than she does the eventual victory. In cheerleading specifically, yes, she wants to be the best, but I was just watching a scene with her and Will today when, mild spoilers for our recovering Gleek listeners if you've not seen through. I know we kind of had lots of spoilers, but later on in the series, when the Glee Club actually does get shut down, she sits down with Will and she says, I'm going to miss this. Like, I've never met somebody who could go the distance with Sue Sylvester. And I think she does really respect Will and respect the fight that he puts up against her, because I do think that eights like to see people fighting for what they believe in, and they like that pushback. And so that was another place where I thought I saw the challenger in her more than just wanting to win. Because if she just wanted to win, the show would have ended after like season 1.
When I was reading about the 8, I was like, man, I don't know. I was thinking about Sue and all of that, but the thing that really like sold it for me was I was reading like the levels of health they have on there. And then I got to the unhealthy levels, and it was like, if they get in danger, they may brutally destroy everything that has not conformed to their will rather than surrender to anyone else. Vengeful, barbaric, murderous, sociopathic tendencies. And I just thought of like that scene of Sue like in her office and like running down the hallways and like ripping things down and like shoving students and like I don't know, that's what sold it for me. Like, she is so vengeful. I love her. I love Sue so much.
I do love her as well.
Also, Madonna is her hero, and that feels very 8 to me as well.
Oh, I love that.
That's a really good point.
To be fair, Madonna is her hero for one episode, but
true, they never bring it up again.
Ever again.
They never bring it up again, but
for that,
felt 8 to me. For that day, sure.
What do we think about her wing?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, riddle me that, you 8s people.
What? I'm sorry. No, what do you think her 3 wing would be?
I have an argument that I will bring into the next conversation.
Okay. I think she's a type 7, I will say. Mainly because I don't think she's a peacemaker. Like, I don't think she has the calm.
So not have the ability to make peace.
Yeah, I had the same thought process. I was like, she just isn't a 9, so I guess she's a 7.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Wow, that's science, everyone.
I love science.
Honestly, sometimes that is science. I don't know much about science, but I assume.
I love science.
I mean, I will make the weakest case for 7.
Love it.
You know, 7s are impulsive and they're overindulgent, and we see in her Cheerio routines, she is absolutely bonkers. She will shoot students out of cannons. She has students on stilts.
That's true.
The woman does not know subtlety. And when she, spoiler alert, takes over the Glee Club, she tries to do the same thing with the Glee Club, where she tries to add like special effects and she tries to add like props and stunts, and she's all about spectacle. So she does seem to be pretty overindulgent and like, I don't know, very bombastic, which is kind of 70s. So there we go.
Love it.
I love it.
Great.
Bombastic. I've heard that one in a second.
Okay, Marjana 2. Who is next?
Guys, I don't know. I forgot that I love Santana so much until I was just watching compilations and I was like, oh my gosh, Santana Lopez. Wow, I love you. So she's next. And there's so much to love about Santana. She is harsh and smooth and like, I feel like she doesn't know where to put herself. She's like oozing out of the sides of just like of emotion and love, but also anger and frustration. And one thing about Santana is she's a Cheerio. That's how we meet her. One of her reoccurring themes is that she did have a breast what's the opposite of reduction?
Augmentation
surgery.
I think the technical term is you got a boob job.
Yep, sure did.
I
Stop
didn't
the
realize
violence.
until I was watching compilations of like many seasons how often they bring it up, and I was like, I couldn't notice, but anyway,
That's Ryan
and
Murphy for you, making comments about all of their bodies all the time.
Did they write that in because Naya got a breast augmentation?
You know, we're not Ryan Murphy, but Naya Rivera did get a boob job, and then they did make a bunch of jokes about her character doing the same thing. So
that man,
it wasn't even that obvious.
No, and every time they comment on like Sam's lips, I don't know why that's the one that like stands out to me. I'm just like, this poor man has no control over his mouth.
Yeah.
Well, Cord Overstreet has said that he sucks in his lips during pictures now.
Are you kidding?
So lasting
Just
damage.
So everyone knows.
Trauma.
I guess, but also big lips are good.
Right.
Like that is the number one thing I get compliments on the dating apps that I hate so much. But I just think that like I think it's weird that they made it a mean thing. It also seems like racially charged to me. I know he's white, but like that's not good. I don't love it.
Right.
So, but Santana's great, and we love her. And she is, and like we watch her explore her sexuality in like a very real way with Brittany, and then also just like how much she wants to express herself throughout like music and the seasons and some intimate tapes that get released. And so and she's in love with Brittany, and that's like her thing. And she's like ashamed of it, not ashamed of it, depends on the episode. But I love Santana. I realized like literally while I was watching, I just like had all these flashbacks to like little me, and I sang like every song she sang. I didn't like remember that, but like Valerie I sang in show choir, Songbird I sang, like, and I love all of those songs. Like that's like, I forgot that I resonated with her so much, just like being a really cool, strong woman. She's kind of mean though. So let's talk about what your Enneagram type is.
I want to say, I'm just going to say, I think she is also an 8. I think for a lot of the same reasons and behaviors of Sue. Sue calls her like a mini Sue, I think, earlier on in the show. But she maybe does that to Quinn, so I may cut that. I don't remember. But
you can say it. But
that's where I'm coming from. I don't know that I'm going to have a ton to add to the 8 argument, though. So where are you all at?
Santana was the hardest one for me of these 3 because frankly, I think that Santana is the most 3-dimensional character on this show. Like the Glee writers tend to write pretty 1-dimensional characters. So I was like, oh, Sue is like super overbearing and loves challenging people. So she seems like a strong 8, but Santana is like pretty complex. And so I kept flip-flopping. I landed in, and I'm very open to being wrong about this, everyone. I landed in her either being an 8-wing 7 or a 7-wing 8, but I can see her also being in the 3 area.
Oh.
But my personal conclusion was an 8-wing 7 or a 7-wing 8.
Oh my gosh.
Lena?
Okay. Yeah, Lena, what do you think?
And this is where I think me and Marjana too are on the same page.
Me too.
I think she's a 3. I think I can be convinced she's an 8, but I'm fairly certain she's a 3. I don't know.
I 100% agree. I think she is a 3. I think she exudes her energy. She's competitive. She fakes who she is definitely to get where she wants to be. Absolutely. Like, and in a way that I don't think we see before. I don't think she acts out of anger. I think she acts out of confusion. And I think she has a wing 4. And I think she's just always struggling between being, we see it like in every episode pretty much after we find out about her and Brittany's relationship, between trying to figure out how to be her authentic self and how to be well liked. And it is like so 3 wing 4. I cannot like, we are both 3 wing 4, but you're a 4 wing. I'm a 4 wing 3. You're a 3 wing 4.
Yep.
I think we like get the struggle and we can see it, and that's why we're right.
I also think Santana, more than any of the other characters, truly like goes on a journey to like find out who she is. I think Glee is a really cool show, but a lot of these characters are like pretty self-assured, and you see Santana like kind of backed into corners and like not having like the tools to know who she is and like to figure out her sexuality and like her family life and all those kind of things. And she just like yearns so much to know who she is. And I feel that's so 3 to me, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think she feels like she needs to get it solved right away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it seems like every episode we see her in, she's like, okay, by the end of this week, by the end of this episode, whatever the day is, I need to know like who I am, what I contribute to the world. Like, am I going to change schools because I'm sick of Rachel Berry and I want to actually, like, I don't want to be a backup singer anymore.
Yeah.
I'm talented. Or, you know, what college am I going to go to? Am I going to go to college? Do I like, and I think that's such a 3 wing 4 thing. Like, I don't know. And so I know we don't usually give wings till the end, but I just felt like that was part of my argument. What do you think, boys?
I wanna say one thing real quick, and then I want to hear what Ian has to say about the 3, and also I want to hear about the 7 because I find that fascinating. But
I put the 7 in to add some spice.
as I was on my Britannia binge today, I was watching late into the show in season 6 when Santana is cast as the understudy to Rachel on Broadway, and she is being absolutely horrible to Rachel about it. Brittany has a heart-to-heart with her where she is like, you win when you stop caring about what other people think, and you win when you walk away from this competition that you don't even want because you just want the status. And she was like, you're giving them your power by caring about what they think and like how they see you, which is to say, I think that's a really beautiful image of like a type 3 and like a really beautiful like message of growth for the type 3. And I had the 3 written down, and then I'll be honest, I erased it because I was like, maybe she's just like coming out, because I was like, I had a lot of 3 feelings when I was figuring out my sexuality, but like I'm not a 3 anymore. So I was like, she's in high school, like for a good portion of the show, like it's a confusing time, especially with that. So I erased it because I was like, maybe I'm projecting too much. But I love what you have to say about the 3.
Well, and did you see the like, were you like in your research? I stumbled upon the prom scene, and like very similarly, she loses, and I also lost prom queen. And they accidentally said my name, and then it was a mistake.
Oh my gosh.
Steve Harvey before Steve Harvey.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Devastating.
And so, well, because they couldn't pronounce it. So I was like, oh, because everyone else was like, you know, Monica, Savannah, so
Emily,
like,
right.
And I was like, oh, like smile and like try to help him, and then it was like, oh, sorry, no, it's Monica.
Oh,
hey, Monica, hey, girl. Hope you're listening in. It honestly was the big, but the point of the story was I didn't really care that much. Like, I was having a great time. I had Dan Green as my prom date. I mean, like, who cares? But like, it took her down, and she was worried about how everyone thought about her, and it like ruined her night, and she like had to have a little cry and get Brittany to come with her. And I feel like that's so 3 because it was more the fact that she didn't win.
How could my running mate win and I didn't? I mean, just because I hate everybody doesn't mean they have to hate me too. It's just a stupid crown you can buy at the party store. I could be an outsider my whole life. Can I just have one night where I'm the queen?
I'm not going back in there.
I'm accepted?
No way.
There's no way I'm staying at this school. I'm gonna transfer.
As soon as we get to New York, I'm bailing to live in a lesbian colony or Tribeca.
And like, do people even like me? Like, that was her concern when I'm like, you're mean to everyone. And she's like, and I think that's what like Brittany even says, that like, you don't like anyone. She's like, yeah, but they're supposed to like me. Like, what's the point of being popular then? I think that's so 3.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that the difference between Sue and Santana is that Sue genuinely does not care about other people's opinion of her, and she just is mean to people because she is like doesn't think much of them, whereas Santana really cares about other people and she's mean as a defense mechanism. Frankly, I just felt like I was typing too many of the characters in the first 4 types.
right.
I watched Saturday Night Gleaver, and Santana sings some song. Oh, I don't remember what song it is. Because it's like Will wants to know like what Santana wants to do after high school, and she sings a song, and he's like, "Oh, that was a song about Brittany and how you love Brittany and you're gonna fight for marriage equality." And she was like, "No, yes, I love Brittany, and yes, I think that marriage equality should be a thing, but that song was about fame because what I want out of life is to be famous." And that's why I got the 7, because
By
Santana
any means necessary.
Yeah, Santana, like, she drops out of college and moves to New York. She like sleeps around with so many people. Like, she just has a vibe to her of wanting to like try a bunch of different things. But I think I think that's just a facet of her personality. I think the core of her is much more 3.
I also like really think her relationship with Rachel is like the most 3 thing that like, it's just like, ooh, that's a lot of energy. And I think that was hard to do. That'd be I would not like to be in the same room as them together. No, thank you.
The fact that like whenever they agreed to be roommates, like bad idea.
Know.
Who thought that was a good idea?
I don't recall that part, man.
If I remember, which frankly I could be wrong because it's been a while since I've seen the episode, I think Santana just walks in and says, "I live here now." Like, just decides that she lives there.
That sounds accurate.
She's
to Santana.
Crazy. I love Santana.
I do
Me too. I love all of her takedowns. Like, I was watching because when she like, it may be her most iconic one, and it comes in season 6. But when she and Brittany get engaged, and Kurt says, "You're way too young," and then she's like, "Oh," and she catches him up with him in the hallway later, and she's like, "Hey, I just want to talk. Like, the reason you and Blaine didn't work out is because you were too young, right? Or maybe," and then she like lists up all the reasons that he and Blaine didn't work out.
Ouch.
Like, I feel bad for everybody on the receiving end of it, and I think I will just say, I'm with you on the 3. I'm here for the 3 wing 4. The way that she is so protective over Brittany and like of the people and the relationships that she holds close to her, like that's where I saw the 8 as like the defender and the challenger, and as somebody like I just loved the way that she takes care of and like stands up for Brittany, even when Brittany doesn't always stand up for herself. When Brittany is like trapped doing something that she doesn't want to do because she feels like she has to, Santana is the one that's like, "No, like, I know you need dance, you need creativity, like you need." And so it was her like fighting for Brittany and like caring for her that made me think that she had some of that 8. But I definitely see the 3 wing 4.
All right. We're shaking on it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba.
Perfect.
We only have one more character left.
Oh no.
All right, Lucas, tell us who it is.
Brittany S. Pierce, also known as Britney Spears.
Spears.
She is Santana's girlfriend, as we talked about. They, I think, have one of the most beautiful relationships in the show. She's also probably the stupidest person to go through McKinley High's halls. However, we do find out after she graduates that she's also like a math savant, and she ends up going to MIT and working in theoretical mathematics. And so she's a character that grows a lot. As I was like binging and skipping through the different seasons, she's a lot more outspoken in the later seasons and a lot more like kind of upfront, whereas at the beginning she kind of just has the like mumbly little one-liners in the back seat. I love when she's just like sitting in the choir room because she forgot to go to class and has been there all day.
I love when her one line has like years and years of story behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much to unpack. And also like Lord and Lady Tubington and like everything that her cats are doing or that she thinks her cats are doing. Like the one episode I watched, she was talking about, she was like, "I like to believe that Lord Tubington doesn't film me while I shower, but that doesn't make it untrue," or whatever.
I love Brittany so much.
I love Brittany, but I also think that she has one of the biggest hearts of anybody in the Glee Club. I may be showing my cards a little bit about what I think her type is, but we'll get there. What do you guys think?
Ian, you go first.
Okay. I think she's a 6 or a 9. I'm gonna lean more towards a 6.
Okay.
Lena?
6 was on my
I
radar.
think she's a 9.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
We're watching the same show?
Yeah.
Oh no!
I can
It's
be
Quinn
convinced
all
otherwise.
over again.
Yes. Every corner there's a new number. Okay. I thought 6 until Lucas said all of that. And I was like, oh, wait, she's a 2.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. I think she is such a 2. I started getting the inkling as we were going through season 2 of the show, actually like alongside recovering Gleek. And I was watching A Very Glee Christmas when Brittany still believes in Santa Claus. And the one thing that she asks Santa for is that Artie can walk again. And it was just like such a selfless ask. And it just seemed so immediate to her to ask to like give something to her friend that she knew that he wanted. And I was like, Brittany, like, why are you so like caring and generous and loving? It really like got to me there. Then later in the show, I was watching after spoilers, she and Santana get engaged. She remembers like how much it hurt Santana that her grandma disowned her after coming out to her. And so she pretends to be a nurse and like infiltrates this woman's life and like befriends Santana's grandma and tricks her into like coming and watching Santana perform. And like they announce that they're engaged to her and without ever telling Santana any of it. And like the way that she takes that on herself to try and fix that problem. And especially like, I think an interpersonal problem where she's like, there's a problem. The woman I love is in pain. I'm going to go like meddle and help and fix it. Like I also thought was a very 2 thing to do, but I also just think like throughout the show she's just such like a kind, open-hearted person in a way that I think she's a 2. But that's my opening argument. I want to hear what you have to say about the 6 and the 9. 6 was kind of on my radar, but then so I'm
here to spice things up. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm fascinated.
Ian and I are here to throw wrenches in your plans.
Yeah, there we go.
I love it.
Oh gosh. I think the 6 was because like she's such a ride or die for Santana. She like always, no matter what Santana does, and Santana like can be, because Santana's going through a lot and can be like kind of manipulative to Brittany, can be really rude to Brittany sometimes. They have like a lot of up and downs and they like break up or are together and all of this stuff. But Brittany always, no matter what, is always there for Santana regardless of the circumstance and like always sticks with her no matter what. And we see that a lot. I mean, frankly, Brittany doesn't have a lot of relationships with other characters. She was mostly like linked to Santana, but she like dates Artie for a little bit. She has a thing with Sam for a little bit. And we do see that she is very loyal to the people she's with. I don't know. No,
yeah. And I see that because I was just watching the episode where Santana like tells her that she loves her and Brittany's like, I love you too, but I'm with Artie right now. Like if Artie and I ever break up and I'm lucky enough that you're still single, like I'm yours. But I do see that like loyalty to her like current relationship.
Yeah, and she is such a like willing pawn of Sue and will do anything that Sue tells her to do and not question it. Where Sue will like have her do straight up illegal stuff and Brittany's like, well, yeah, I'm on the Cheerios and she leads the Cheerios, so I'm supposed to do this. And then like Quinn and Santana, because I mentioned during Sue's that Sue wants to shoot a student out of a cannon. The student is Brittany. And Quinn and Santana have to repeatedly tell her, Brittany, you are not doing this. You will die. And Brittany's like, yeah, I know I'll probably die, but like I'm a Cheerio and this is what the Cheerios are supposed to do.
That's
and
pretty
like
ride or die.
She needs Santana, who is her other ride or die, to be like, no, we are absolutely not doing this. That she is just kind of like, well, Sue is in charge of my like group that I'm in, and so I do what Sue does, and I don't really question it.
I think she's just stupid, though. Like it was all love.
Yeah,
like,
but I just feel like I don't know.
With peace and love.
I think a lot of that can point to the 2 too. Like as the helper, like 2s are always willing to like lay themselves down, like for the people that they
love a
like
good
love.
sacrifice.
I don't know.
Be a good martyr.
as we talk more about this, I'm moving more towards 9 because I think just a big thing about Brittany is she is pretty passive. Like that's what her character is because she's open-hearted, but also she will bully other people and she'll like say explicitly mean stuff to Rachel. And yes, she will go along with what people tell her to do, but then also she puts up a fit and says that they need to do Britney Spears and that she has decided that she gets every single solo in the New Directions from here on out. She does kind of just have like she absorbs energies from other people and reinterprets them. I think I might be moving on to the 9 train.
Wait, I feel like you just gave an anti-9 theory, though. I
mention I don't know the Enneagram very well?
Yeah, that's a fun thing about Ian and I is we've A, never seen an episode of Glee, and we B, don't know anything about the Enneagram.
They're lying, everyone.
We love to just talk about stuff we have no idea about.
I was mean to you about the 6, but then I remembered this quote, and I hope you can find it, Lucas. I have no idea where it is in the whole series. But I heard this quote and she says, like, the Glee Club people are my people. Like, I know I'm going to be in Tina's wedding. I know I'm going to be there when she has her first baby. I know I'm going to be there when they finally invent something so Artie can walk.
Yeah, well, this is a club. This is not a family.
Okay, well, family is a place where everyone loves you no matter what. And they accept you for who you are. I know I'm going to be a bridesmaid at Mike and Tina's wedding. And I'm going to be anxiously awaiting, just like everyone else, to see if their babies are Asian too. When they find an operation to make Artie's legs work again, I'm going to be there for his first steps. I love them. I love everyone in Glee Club. And I get to spend another year with everyone I love, so I'm good.
What about you and I?
I love you, Santana. I love you more than I've ever loved anyone else in this world. All I know about you and I is that because of that, I think anything's possible.
And I think like those are her people. She found them and she is loyal to them and she sees her future with them as much as she sees her present with them. And I think in the same way, I think the way that she can bully other people might be because she is loyal. And that might not be very two. I can see, like, I did think too, like, Lucas, I think you're very, but I was hearing that quote and I was thinking too, I guess I'd need to hear, let me pull up our cheat sheet and look up kind of the difference between a 6 and a 2. Do you guys mind if I do that for a second?
Not at all. I'm actually on the Enneagram Institute website right now about the misidentification.
Okay, perfect.
While
Why don't you share?
That, I also want to hear what Lena has to say about the type 9 and see if we can just throw another wrench into the mix.
Yeah, let's do it.
Here's my wrench. Brittany, a lot of the time, is pretty happy to be like kind of in the background, keeping people happy. Mm-hmm. And she has like a tendency to like numb out and only have like one line an episode, which maybe that's a mistake on the writer's part, but I'm like taking it at face value. She's kind of is like there and like kind of numbing out sometimes. Yeah, that's what I think about that. And I also think that she is just like super like my train of thought. Hold on. Like, I don't know, but everything now I'm thinking 2. I'm like, she's just super helpful.
Maybe we're like 2 2s and 2 6s against.
I don't think she's a 2 personally.
Can you talk more? Okay, so the 2s need, I just like quick cheat sheet, has the need to be loved. Don't know if that is how she feels, where the 6 needs to be secure. And I think about how she wouldn't break up with Artie, but she was just like, if we end up not dating and you're not dating someone, I'll be in love with you, even though I love you more. I think the 2's a little bit more passionate about love and like forthcoming. And the fact that if a 2 was in love with Santana, like, even though it would hurt Artie, they knew like that was the love for them.
I think that
rather than a 6 who might just stick around.
I think a 6 might be more loyal to Santana with the longer relationship. Then I think the 2 doesn't want to hurt.
Doesn't want to stir the pot.
That's not how it.
Like, no, a 2 would
not just like who has the most time. You can say whatever you want about that, but I just want to correct because I don't feel like the 6s are just like, okay, who has the most time? Let's, you know what I mean? Let's go forward. You know, like it's just like who. I don't know.
Yes, what I meant is that she's closer with Santana, and that I don't think a 2 would like hurt Artie. Like a 2 would immediately think like, this is going to hurt Artie. I can't hurt Artie. but I love you. And I do think that she has really big feelings when it comes to Santana. When she says near the end of season 2, she's like, I love all of these people, but I love you more than anything on this earth. And it is just like so apparent and obvious to her that like Santana is her person. Like that's where I see that really big open heart. I will say too, I also think she's a wing 3 with the thing like Brittany, where like she has that confidence to be like, okay, I'm going to take all the solos now because I am Britney Spears and like I deserve it. So when I was just like, oh yeah, she's a 2 wing 3, it like clicked for me in a way. I can kind of see the 6, but I don't.
What is your reaction to? I think she might be a 6 wing 5, and the fact that she can build a world in her head.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
In her head, like, and that is where it is, and that's where it makes sense. And I think like so often we're like, oh, Brainiac 5, and I think she's the other type of 5 that we don't always get to see, and the fact that like they are so often creative in a different way than what we like typically see. And I think sometimes we'll just like chop that up to the wing 4 if they have one. But I think a 5 can create an entire realm and world and understanding within who they are. And that's why like Brittany's world doesn't make a lot of sense just because she has a bit of a trouble bridging it to us. But I think she might be a 6 wing 5. And I don't know. I kind of love that. I don't know about 6 wing 5s.
Yeah, I was thinking the wing 5 as well. And initially I thought wing 5 because I was like, turns out she's a savant and she goes to MIT. But then but I agree that it is like Brittany says a lot of stuff that like makes no sense, where she talks about how she has like a cricket that reads to her at night, and she says all these things about her cat that like her cat isn't doing those things. Like she clearly just like lives in her head a lot. That's true. Maybe it is. Show. But yeah, I agree with that, Marjana, too, that I think personally she's a 6 wing 5.
Wow.
This is so interesting.
I just personally don't see, and once again, I know much less about the Enneagram than you guys.
Stop saying that. I want us to win.
I am the expert on the Enneagram, but from my very basic notes, it talks about how
so funny.
It talks about how, I don't know, just like the 2 cares so much about like if people will love them and being afraid that no one will love them. And I just don't get those vibes from Brittany. Mm-hmm. I understand that she is giving and open-hearted. I completely agree. I just don't think that at her core, she's afraid that people won't reciprocate the love.
I think you're totally right. Mm-hmm. I think she'd be a lot more scared that people like of not being secure. I don't know. Like,
yeah, she was willing to die instead of quit the Cheerios. Like literally her girlfriend had to tell her, no, I am making you quit.
I will say, I think I agree with you, but I don't think that the canon is a point in the favor of the 6 because 6s are all about like security and safety. But
that's fair. That's fair.
But I do think that like the overarching argument stands, and I like the idea of her as a 6 wing 5. I will give you that.
I knew you would. I knew as soon as I put a 5 in there, I'd get you. And the thing is, that is kind of my point to earlier, where I was like, I think she's just dumb. Like, I still think she's a 6. I think she can think of the way things can go wrong. I just think she thinks of them a lot differently than most of us would, right? Like, she does very risky behavior, not because she's not a 6 and isn't worried about things. It's just she's more worried about like her cat videotaping her showering, than the fact that like she just accidentally showed everyone her engaging in intimate activity with her girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like she just doesn't like think through that. She's like, oh, I'm, just a girl, just an interesting gal. I like her.
I like her. I also think that she has that affect, like that just like tone to her, especially in the earlier seasons, that is such, I feel like, a character. Like, it doesn't feel real, the way that she talks and like everything she says. I'm like, do you feel anything that you're saying? Like, it's just so monotone and like low. And I'm like, so I think it's hard sometimes to access those emotions, or maybe she just doesn't have them as big as other things. But I do, like, I think we see some really beautiful emotions from her as she and Santana get more screen time, to be fair. I mean, like, they don't do a ton in season 1. I will say, I think one of my favorite parts of all of season 1 is when Sue makes the Cheerios put the trophy that they won in his apartment. They like break into his apartment and they're like moving all of his furniture around. And when Santana and Brittany are leaving, Brittany, like, without looking at Will as she passes, is just like, I'm sorry. It is, I don't know, like,
Sweetheart.
I laughed such a random thing, but probably one of my favorite Brittany moments of season 1 at least. But
absolutely.
No, but
I actually have one more thing to say too, to that point, is I think if it were rewritten in 2021, I think they could have done a really cool and beautiful job with making Brittany like neurodivergent and like intentionally neurodivergent and funny and here and with it. And I think a lot of times that like, even I felt uncomfortable talking about, you know, her wishes for Artie, or what I even said how like because I think the show is a little I think it might be fair to say it's ableist, even if they were trying to do something and they did it a little bit, they did it wrong. And I don't want to speak on behalf of a lot of people that I don't know, but I feel as though they could have done like a really cool job with that, and they didn't. And I think like in another opportunity, if they had a better writer's room, they could have done a really great job for both done Artie justice, and I think Brittany might have been able to be not just like weird and kooky, but like actually neurodivergent and just saw things differently than the rest of us did, which I think is kind of what happened. But they made it so much of a joke, but the audience still really loved her. So I don't know. I just think that would have been really cool. And I still think she's a 6.5. And I'm so glad we concluded this episode. I don't want to get too deep on that.
No, I loved that.
Wow.
What do you think, team?
I literally only left with one of my predictions, but I love actually where we landed on all of them. But I came in really strong. Like, I was like, I know all 3 of these, and turns out I didn't, but I love where we landed.
Not me getting emotional because everyone's about to leave forever.
No.
Let's do round 2 and do the Glee characters nobody cares about. Let's figure out
Rapid
the types
fire.
of Joe,
Ryder.
of Ryder,
Joe.
Rory,
the jock
Damien
kid in
McGinty.
season 6.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Of Billie Eilish's brother. Let's figure out his type. Remember
Oh
how
my gosh.
he's in Glee.
What?
Phineas?
Yeah.
What's his name? Phoenix?
He plays Alistair.
He's
Yeah.
the, I like big butts and I cannot lie.
No, he's not that guy. He is
Wait,
not
he's
that
not?
guy. He is in season 6. He plays Alistair.
Is he the
He's
guy
Spencer's
with the hair?
boyfriend. Yeah, with the long red hair.
He like sits on the
truly
piano.
in like
Oh
3
my gosh.
episodes and has maybe like 10 lines total.
I'm looking it up.
Mine.
But
I really like him as a person.
Wow.
I saw him on Jimmy Fallon and I just really like him.
Hear me out. The season 6 New Directions are far superior to the season 4 Newbie New Directions. And it makes me mad that we got a season and a half of the season 4 crew and we got like 8 episodes of the season 6 crew, which are much more interesting
The
characters.
fact that they split like Tina's senior year into 2 seasons I was so ready to be done. Like,
Yeah.
we did not need 2 seasons of that school year. Like,
Yeah, we did not.
Well, weren't those all the like people who won the Glee Finding Glee show?
The Glee Project.
Ryder was
Glee
and
Project.
Joe was, but the
Yeah.
rest of and then Unique didn't win.
But was on it.
Yeah.
You know what? I was in love with the skinny white boy on that show. I think he's
You're
saying,
talking about
"Baby, it's
Cameron.
cold outside."
If you're about to say Joe, I'm going to
Grant
lose
Gustin.
my mind.
No.
Sebastian.
He left
He wasn't
because he
on-
had to.
Yes, you're
Oh,
talking
on the
about
Glee
Cameron.
Project.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, where is he now? I need to know. That's all I was gonna say.
I literally, it's so funny you bring that up. I was thinking about him like 2 days ago. I looked him up.
Really?
He's a recording artist, but his name is Cameron Mitchell. He's a recording artist.
Isn't that someone else's name? Cameron
I don't
Mitchell?
know.
I think it's just a very generic name.
That's from like Disney Channel. And I'm Cameron Mitchell.
All I remember from the Glee project is that this guy had the Christian bag. Like that was his his whole persona, is that he was the Christian guy, and then he left because he was the one who someone kissed without his permission. So he was like, I'm not comfortable in this competition anymore, which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
And then that's when Joe came in. Whatever his name was, I don't remember. But he was like, hey, I have a Christian tattoo. And then they put him on the show. He took his bag. He took the Christian bag from him.
Murphy was so into it just because he's like, well, I've kind of made this perfect world where there's a bunch of gay people and no Christian people to like protest it. So he was going to be the villain anyway. Like, and so he was just like not here for it. Cameron Mitchell is an old Hollywood star. And I remembered it because I read this book about old Hollywood not that long ago. So good job.
Okay.
Glee Club.
Loving this.
I was in love with this guy. He was so cute.
We are soul sisters.
I know we are.
Lucas is like, bring it into the outtakes, guys.
I'm still recording. I don't know how much of that we're gonna.
We are recording.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm recording.
I think it's fun.
No, I love it. Okay. Before we go, we do have next week to look forward to. So Marjana 2, we're starting something brand new. What are we talking about?
The greatest city in the world. That was such a weird song to sing from this.
There is, in fact, a song in the musical that has the name of the musical in it.
I know. I don't know why I did.
And a like musical motif through the whole thing.
Yep, perfect.
Love it.
Woo!
Woo! Work.
Thank you for listening to Typecasting. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at TypecastingPod, where you can vote in our weekly polls. Leave a review and be sure to join us next week when we take on more pop culture by the numbers.